Martha's Vineyard, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about settling sisterly squabbles. So in my first video, I talked about some of my own personal experiences that I had as early as 2 weeks ago with some sisterly squabbles that I had to settle. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the principles that I have learned because I've had to settle so many sisterly squabbles. So one of the principles that I've learned is don't let it fester. In the first video, I talked about how I am not a fan of confrontation, but I have learned that it's much easier to handle the situation, if you confront it right away than if you let it fester, because then, it just gets worse and worse and worse and harder to do. So don't let it fester. The other principles that I wanted to share is just to own your own shit, stuff, however you want to say it, but own your stuff, right? There's always something that we have to own in a situation. There's two people in a squabble, and even if the other person was more at fault than you, own your part of it. And once you've owned your part of it, apologize. Sometimes we have so much pride and we don't feel like we've done anything wrong. We don't really want to apologize. But apologies make a huge difference. And once you've apologized, now you can start the forgiveness process. Forgive yourself and forgive your sister, right? And when you forgive, I think sometimes we can forgive, but we don't always forget. So once you forgive, let it go, right? Don't hold a grudge. This might be the hardest thing ever because we're humans, right? And we remember the pain, we remember the hurt. We start to characterize the person by what they did to us. But if we've forgiven and we really want to reconcile the relationship, don't hold a grudge. I have experienced this in so many different situations, and I found that what does it benefit you to hold a grudge? Okay, you get to keep score, but when you let go of holding a grudge, you open yourself up to so many possibilities and opportunities. I have truly let some stuff go that a less mature version of me would not have let go. But I've seen the benefits of doing that. I've seen how these people have been able to pour into me and how we've been able to transform each other and transform and have an impact on a greater community. So it's worth it. And then this is hard too. Sometimes you forgive, you let it go, and you're ready to reconcile. But reconciliation doesn't come easily. Some relationships are not able to be reconciled, either because the other person is toxic and we have to learn how to love from a distance. And that's real. That can be real in your sister relationships. It can be real in your family. So recognizing toxic behavior and learning how to honor yourself and honor your own boundaries. And if you can't reconcile, let it go, forgive anyway, and move on. So those are some of the principles that I've learned when it comes to settling sisterly squabbles. A couple of other things that I've learned is that grow in the area of your deficiency. Even if you don't think that you were deficient in the situation, our sister relationships are mirrors for us. There is an area where we can grow. So grow in the area of your deficiency. I talked about in my last video how I was deficient in a certain area. There was a certain situation where I really should have made a decision a lot sooner than when I made that decision. And when my sister brought it up to me, at first, I felt some kind of way. But when I thought about it, she was right. There was a deficiency there. And now I'm able to grow in that area of my deficiency. And then realize that relationships evolve and some of them wither. Not all relationships are forever relationships. So there's seasons of friendship. There can be seasons of sisterhood. So if this season of sisterhood is over, honor what it has been for you, honor what it has taught you, honor the person, continue to be in a state of forgiveness, but move on from it. Now, the thing that I also would like to share is that the principles that have served me well in my personal relationships, but also in the organizations that I've been in. I've been in positions of leadership in many organizations that needed sisterhood in order to survive. And so these principles were integral to making those relationships work so that the organizations would work. And it's the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I may be butchering his name, so I apologize. Spanish is not one of my languages. But if you have never heard of them, go and look them up. But I'll share what they are. The first one is to be impeccable with your word. Whew. This one is really important. One of the relationships that I was not able to reconcile was because I was not impeccable with my word. I said I would do something for my sister and I didn't do it. And I didn't realize how important that thing was to her until after the relationship fell apart because of it. And we tried to reconcile, and she said she forgave me, but she continued to hold a grudge, which is one of the other principles that I mentioned. And so the relationship was never able to be reconciled. But if I had anything to do over again, it would be number one, and to be impeccable with my word. If you can't do it, just say you can't do it. If the answer is no, just say no. That's so much better than giving a yes and then not showing up for your sister. The second of the Four Agreements is don't take anything personally, right? I know. How do you not take things personally? Everything's personal, right? No, everything is not personal. What I have learned as a coach is that we as human beings are very selfish and self-centered, and most things really are about us. We assume that it is about us in regards to the other person, but it's usually about them. And so the first thing is just don't take it personally. Until they make it specific and personal to you, don't take it personally. That will save you so much heartache, so many misunderstandings, and allow you to move forward in your relationship. This is really important in organizations because things get said, rumors get spread, text messages get sent, and we take it personally. Don't take it personally. Let it roll off and keep it moving. The third of the Four Agreements is don't make assumptions. Now, assumptions is something I talk about a lot as a coach because it's an energy block. When we make assumptions, it puts us into that catabolic energy, that energy of the victim, or that conflict energy, that energy that is constricting and restricting and over time causes harm. If we release ourselves from making assumptions, just because this sister over here did it doesn't mean that sister over there will do it. Just because all of the women in your life have hurt you and you just don't hang out with women because there's too much drama, doesn't mean every woman that you meet is going to have drama. Don't make assumptions. Let people prove themselves. Now, if they show you who you are, then believe them, right? But don't assume before they get a chance to show you who they are. And the fourth of the Four Agreements is to do your best. After you've done your best, let it rest, right? And whatever your best is in that moment, your best today may be different from your best tomorrow or your best yesterday. But as long as you've done your best, then you can be at peace with what you've done in the situation. So once you do your best, let it rest, okay? So those are the four principles that I've used in all of my organizations, on foundation boards and women's organizations where I was a founder and a leader. Those four principles have served me well. And the importance of it is that sisterhood is important. We cannot let unsettled squabbles get in the way of us continuing to build our sisterhood and build our community. So by using those four principles and the other ones that I shared from my personal experience, it helps us to move past those little things that get in the way, right? Stop making judgments, right? We judge our sisters based on how they talk or what they wear or who they're with or who they like. Let's minimize the judgments so that we can continue to grow in our sisterhood and our community. Because not only do we need it, but the world needs it. The world needs us and they need our sisterhood. So that's what I have to share. And goodbye for now. I'll see you next time.